Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stoic Dialogue, ancient philosophy for the modern mind, where we transform philosophy into deep dialogues that can change your life. Today, we are embarking on a deep dive into Epictetus's Enchiridion,
Yes.
which is essentially a manual for navigating life's obstacles and finding a sense of inner peace.
You can think of it as a cheat sheet,
Okay?
penned centuries ago for facing the same human struggles that we grapple with today.
Wow.
And what's striking is that Epictetus, born a slave, discovered the key to freedom wasn't in external circumstances,
Right.
but in mastering his own mind.
That's a powerful concept, and it
Yeah.
seems incredibly relevant today when so much of our world feels chaotic and out of control. So how can this ancient wisdom help us navigate the anxieties and pressures of modern life?
Well, Epictetus offers us a starting point with the dichotomy of control.
Okay.
It's a simple but profound idea. Divide life into things you can control and things you cannot.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What exactly falls under our control?
Think about your actions, your reactions, even your thoughts. How you choose to respond to a challenge, how you manage your emotions in a difficult situation.
Yeah.
Those are all within your sphere of influence.
So it's not about denying that external events happen, but about recognizing that we have a choice in how we respond to them.
Exactly. Let's say you're scrolling through social media and you feel this pang of envy,
Right.
seeing someone else's highlight reel.
Oh, yeah.
You can't control what others post,
Right.
but you can choose how you react to it.
Instead of letting it spiral into self-doubt or comparison, we can use that moment to reflect on our own values and priorities.
Precisely. And this shift in focus from what we can't control to what we can is incredibly empowering. It allows us to reclaim a sense of agency in a world that often feels overwhelming.
That makes me think about the constant pressure to achieve, to have it all that's so prevalent today. How does the dichotomy of control apply in that context?
It's about recognizing that while we can strive for success,
Right.
we can't guarantee specific outcomes. We can control our effort, our dedication, our commitment to excellence.
Okay.
The results, however, are often influenced by factors outside our control.
So it's about focusing on the journey, on the process of growth and self-improvement,
Yes.
rather than getting fixated on the destination.
Yes. And in doing so, we free ourselves from the anxiety and pressure that come with clinging to things we can't control. It's a profound shift in perspective, one that can lead to a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment.
It seems like this dichotomy of control is really about recognizing where our true power lies,
Yes.
not in manipulating the external world, but in mastering our own inner world.
Absolutely. And that leads us beautifully to another key teaching of Epictetus, the importance of self-control. This one is all about understanding that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about those events. We have more control over our emotional responses than we often realize.
I think we can all relate to that. We've all had those moments where we react impulsively and then regret it later. So how can we cultivate this kind of self-control?
Yeah. Well, mindfulness practices like meditation can be incredibly helpful.
Okay.
By learning to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, we create a space
Okay.
between the stimulus and our reaction.
So instead of being swept away by a wave of anger or frustration,
Yes.
we learn to pause,
Yes.
to acknowledge the emotion, and then choose how we want to respond.
Exactly. And another powerful technique is conscious planning. Think about those predictable situations that tend to trigger strong emotions. Perhaps it's a difficult conversation with a colleague or a family member.
Right.
Visualize yourself responding calmly and rationally in that situation.
It's like having a script ready for those challenging moments. A script that aligns with our values and helps us navigate those situations with grace and composure.
Precisely. It's about taking proactive steps to cultivate self-control,
Right.
rather than simply hoping we'll make the right choice in the heat of the moment.
And that's where the true power lies, isn't it?
Yes.
In that intentional choice, that conscious decision to respond in a way that aligns with our best selves.
Yes, and it's a journey, a practice that requires patience and persistence. But the rewards in terms of inner peace and resilience are immeasurable.
So we've talked about controlling our reactions and cultivating self-control. What other profound insights does Epictetus offer us in this ancient guide to living well?
This next teaching might seem a bit daunting at first, but it's actually a profound key to living a more fulfilling life. accepting impermanence and death.
That's something many people try to avoid thinking about, but I'm curious to hear how Epictetus approaches it.
Well, he encourages us to view death not with fear, but as a natural part of life's cycle, by recognizing the impermanence of everything from our possessions to our relationships.
Right.
We can learn to appreciate the present moment more deeply.
It's like the old adage, don't sweat the small stuff.
Yes.
But it goes even deeper than that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that everything, even life itself, is temporary.
Yes, and this realization can be incredibly liberating. When we let go of clinging to what we can't keep, we open ourselves to a deeper experience of life.
But how can we practically apply this idea of accepting impermanence in our daily lives?
A simple but powerful practice is keeping a gratitude journal. By taking time each day to reflect on what we're grateful for, we shift our focus to the positive and cultivate a deeper appreciation for the present moment.
So it's about training our minds to see the beauty and abundance in our lives, even amidst the challenges and uncertainties.
Exactly. And this practice can be incredibly transformative. It can help us shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance, from fear to gratitude, from clinging to letting go.
It's a beautiful way to approach life, and it seems like it naturally leads us to the final teaching we'll explore today, virtue as the path to happiness.
Yes, this is central to Stoic philosophy. Epictetus reminds us that true happiness doesn't come from external possessions or achievements, but from living a life aligned with our values.
So it's about cultivating our character, about striving to be good people, not just for the sake of appearances, but because it's intrinsically fulfilling.
Exactly. And this virtue isn't passive. It's about actively aligning our actions with our values. It's about embodying wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance in our daily lives.
It seems like we're living in a time where those virtues are more important than ever. So how can we practically apply this idea of virtue as the path to happiness?
A good starting point is to identify your core values. Ask yourself, what's truly important to me? Is it honesty, compassion, justice? Once you've identified those values, make a conscious effort to live by them. To let them guide your decisions and actions.
So it's about more than just good intentions.
Yes.
It's about actively living out those virtues in our daily lives.
Precisely. And it's not about grand gestures or heroic acts. It's about making those small, everyday choices that reflect the kind of person you want to be. It's about speaking up against injustice, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about offering kindness to a stranger, even when you're feeling rushed. It's about choosing courage over fear, even in those seemingly insignificant moments.
It's about recognizing that true happiness and fulfillment come not from what we acquire, but from how we live.
Exactly. And that's a message that's resonated with people for centuries. It's a message that's just as relevant today as it was in the time of Epictetus.
This has been a fascinating exploration of Epictetus's Enchiridion. It's amazing how these ancient teachings can feel so relevant to our lives today.
Absolutely. And in our next part, we'll continue our deep dive into this timeless text, uncovering more practical wisdom and exploring how it can empower us to live more meaningful, fulfilling lives, even in the face of life's inevitable challenges.
I'm already looking forward to it.
Great. Welcome back to Stoic Dialogue.
In our last segment, we delved into some foundational Stoic principles. It's like the dichotomy of control and the importance of cultivating virtues like self-control.
Yes.
I'm eager to uncover more of Epictetus's practical advice for navigating the complexities of modern life. What other gems can we find in this ancient text?
Well, one of the most striking aspects of the Enchiridion is its emphasis on recognizing what truly belongs to us. And what doesn't. Epictetus constantly reminds us that things like our body's possessions, even our reputation, are ultimately transient.
They are not truly ours to control in the absolute sense.
Precisely. They are subject to the whims of fate and circumstance. What truly belongs to us, what we can truly own, are our thoughts, judgments, and reactions to the world.
This reminds me of a passage from the Enchiridion itself. Epictetus writes, "Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion pursuit, desire aversion, and in a word, whatever, are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and in one word, whatever, are not our own actions."
That's a powerful passage, and it highlights a key distinction that forms the foundation of our freedom. When we attach our happiness and well-being to things outside our control, we become slaves to those things.
Okay.
But when we understand that our true power lies in our inner world and how we choose to respond, we reclaim our freedom.
It's a radical shift in perspective, isn't it? To let go of the need to control externals and to focus instead on mastering our inner landscape. It sounds simple in theory, but how do we actually practice this kind of detachment? It can't be easy to simply disregard the things we value, the people we love, or the goals we're striving for.
It certainly takes practice.
Right.
And Epictetus offers some practical advice.
Yeah.
He suggests a simple but profound exercise.
Okay.
Whenever you find yourself becoming overly attached to something, remind yourself of its impermanent nature.
Could you give us an example what that might look like in practice?
Certainly. Imagine you're admiring a beautiful vase. It's natural to appreciate its beauty, but you might find yourself becoming attached to it, worried about it breaking. In that moment, remind yourself, I'm enjoying this beautiful vase, but it is a fragile thing that could easily break. Or if you're spending time with your child whom you cherish dearly, remind yourself, I love this child deeply, but they are a human being subject to the same laws of nature as everyone else.
So it's about acknowledging the impermanence of even the things we love most. It sounds counterintuitive, but I can see how recognizing that impermanence could actually deepen our appreciation for the present moment.
Precisely.
It allows us to cherish those things, to love more fully, without the fear of losing them.
Precisely. It's about embracing the bittersweet beauty of life. Everything changes, everything passes, and that's okay.
Right.
By accepting this truth, we free ourselves from the anxiety and fear that come with clinging to what is ultimately beyond our grasp.
This reminds me of another passage from the Enchiridion, where Epictetus writes, "Never say about anything, I have lost it, but only I have given it back." It's a profound reframing of loss, isn't it?
Indeed. Instead of viewing loss as something that has been unjustly taken from us, we can see it as a return of something we were temporarily entrusted with.
It's like recognizing that everything we have is a gift alone, and that eventually it will be returned to the source. This perspective brings a sense of gratitude, doesn't it? We can appreciate those gifts while we have them and let go with grace when the time comes.
Yes, it fosters a deep sense of gratitude and allows us to approach life with a lighter heart. And it ties in beautifully with the concept of accepting death, which we touched upon earlier.
Right.
When we understand that death is a natural part of life, just like the changing seasons, it loses its power to frighten us. It becomes less of an ending and more of a transition.
It seems that in accepting death, we actually free ourselves to live more fully. If we're not constantly consumed by the fear of death, we can pursue our purpose with greater courage, connect with others more deeply, and truly make the most of the time we have.
Exactly. And this leads us to another significant concept in Epictetus's teachings, the importance of living in accordance with nature.
What exactly does it mean to live in accordance with nature, especially in the context of our modern world, which often feels quite detached from the natural rhythms of life?
For the Stoics, living in accordance with nature means recognizing that we are part of a grander cosmic order, an intricate web of interconnectedness. It's about understanding the natural laws that govern the universe and aligning our actions with those laws.
So it's not just about being in harmony with the physical natural world, but also about understanding and accepting our own human nature.
Precisely. It involves accepting the things we cannot change, focusing our energy on what we can control, and striving to live virtuously.
And the idea of virtue is central to Stoic philosophy, isn't it?
It is. The Stoics believed that virtue is not just about being a good person, but about living in accordance with reason and wisdom.
It's about making choices that align with our understanding of what is right and good, even when it's difficult.
Exactly. And it requires actively cultivating virtues like justice, courage, temperance, and wisdom in our daily lives.
It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk. So how does Epictetus guide us in this pursuit of virtue?
He emphasizes the importance of focusing on our own actions and reactions rather than attempting to control the actions of others.
It's about recognizing that we are responsible for our choices, but not for the choices of others.
Yes, and this principle applies not just to individuals, but also to events and circumstances. We can influence things within our sphere of control, but we shouldn't waste energy lamenting or resisting what we cannot change.
This sounds like a recipe for greater peace of mind. If we're not constantly battling against things beyond our control, we can focus on living virtuously in the present moment.
Precisely. And this focus on virtue also informs how we approach relationships.
Okay.
We can love and care for others without becoming entangled in their dramas or feeling the need to control their choices.
It's about accepting people as they are, respecting their autonomy, and recognizing that we can only control our own responses.
Yes, and understanding that sometimes people will act in ways that we don't agree with or even find hurtful.
This doesn't mean condoning those actions, but rather acknowledging that we can't force others to change. We can, however, choose how we respond to those situations.
Exactly. We can choose to respond with wisdom and compassion while still holding firm to our own boundaries and values.
This resonates with me. It's about choosing freedom over reactivity, even in the face of challenging circumstances.
And that freedom is the essence of Stoic philosophy. It's the freedom to choose our responses, to live in alignment with our values, and to find peace and contentment regardless of our external circumstances.
It's fascinating how this ancient philosophy offers such a practical approach to navigating the complexities of human relationships. In our previous segments, we talked about the importance of accepting what we cannot control and focusing on our own virtuous actions. But how do those principles translate into our interactions with others, particularly when we feel compelled to offer advice or guidance to those we care about?
That's an excellent question, and it's a situation we all encounter in our lives. Epictetus offers some valuable insights here as well. He cautions against offering unsolicited advice, especially when it concerns matters outside our control.
So it's about respecting the autonomy of others and recognizing that we can't force them to change or see things our way.
Precisely. Attempting to control or change others is a recipe for frustration and resentment. Instead, Epictetus suggests focusing on our own actions and setting a positive example through our behavior.
It's about embodying the principles we believe in and allowing our actions to speak louder than words.
Yes. By living in accordance with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, we may inspire others to do the same without the need for forceful persuasion or unsolicited advice.
It's the idea of being the change you want to see in the world, isn't it?
Exactly. And this doesn't mean we can't offer support or guidance when it's requested, but it's about approaching those situations with humility and respect for the other person's agency.
Creating a space where they feel empowered to make their own choices, even if those choices differ from what we might advise.
Precisely. This principle of respecting autonomy extends beyond personal relationships. It applies to our interactions in the workplace, in our communities, and in society as a whole.
Recognizing the interconnectedness of all things and approaching each interaction with respect, compassion, and understanding.
Yes. And this leads us to another important aspect of Epictetus's teachings, the importance of focusing on what is truly essential in life.
In a world that often feels overwhelming with so many demands on our time and attention, how do we discern what's truly essential?
Epictetus reminds us that true happiness doesn't lie in external possessions or accomplishments, but in cultivating our inner world, living virtuously, and attending to what's within our control.
Simplifying our lives, letting go of what doesn't truly matter, and focusing on what brings meaning and purpose?
Yes, it's about cultivating detachment from material possessions and the need for external validation. Instead, we find contentment in the simple things, the beauty of nature, the joy of connecting with loved ones, and the satisfaction of aligning our lives with our values.
Recognizing that true wealth isn't measured by what we own, but by the richness of our character and the quality of our experiences.
Precisely. By focusing on what is essential, we navigate the world with greater clarity, purpose, and peace. We become less swayed by the opinions of others, less attached to specific outcomes, and more resilient in the face of challenges.
It's about finding freedom from the tyranny of the external world and discovering the boundless joy and contentment within ourselves.
Yes. And this, I believe, is the heart of Epictetus' message, a message as relevant today as it was centuries ago. It's a message of hope, resilience, and the power of choosing wisdom and virtue in each moment.
It's a call to reclaim our inner authority, to live with intention and purpose, and to discover genuine and lasting happiness, not in fleeting external pleasures, but in the depths of our being.
It has been a privilege exploring the profound wisdom of Epictetus' Enchiridion with you. May these Stoic teachings serve as a guiding light on your own path of self-discovery and growth.
Thank you. Exploring these timeless insights has been a true gift, a potent reminder that even amidst the complexities and challenges of modern life, we always have the power to choose inner peace, strength, and wisdom.
And remember, the journey toward a more fulfilling and meaningful life is ongoing. We can always return to these ancient teachings for guidance and inspiration as we navigate the ever-changing landscape of our lives.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Stoic Dialogue, Ancient Philosophy for the Modern Mind. See you next time.